On the application settings menu, the first option you have is whether to change the temperature reading from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Beneath that, you can set the allowable temperature range. You can adjust the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature allowed at your kiosk. The maximum temperature is what's going to trigger the alarm, so you'll set this at whatever your HR department approves. Beneath that, you have the indication text. When somebody registers a temperature that's within the acceptable range, this is the message that will pop up. Currently, it's set up to display passed. You can adjust this as needed. The same when somebody exceeds the acceptable range, you can adjust this text as well. Currently, it says, please wait for assistance. Beneath that is where you can adjust the volume of the alert when somebody registers a high temperature. And beneath that is where you can change the password to access the system settings. And one below that is where you can adjust the language of the kiosk application. Once you've made all your changes on this page, remember to click Save, and it'll take you back to the previous menu. Here we'll demonstrate what happens when you have a user approach the kiosk with a temperature that's too high and you have the audible alarm enabled. Face detection utilities. On the face detection utilities menu, the first option you have is whether to enable or disable mask detection. When it's enabled, it's going to detect whether the user is wearing a mask or not at the kiosk. If the person is not wearing a mask, an alert message pops up. You have the option to edit what this text is. Currently it says, due to public health issue, please wear a mask. The next option you have is whether to record high temperature people. Again, you can enable or disable this feature, and you can enter in an email address of your choosing. What this feature does is if a user records a temperature that is too high, it takes a screenshot at that time. On the screenshot, you have the user's image, you have the timestamp of when their temperature was taken, along with their temperature at that time. And if they're enrolled in your facial recognition database, it'll show their picture from your database as well as their name. Once you've made your changes to this page, remember to save them, and it'll take you back to the previous menu. For this simulation, we've turned off the audible alarm in favor of using remote alerts. When the user approaches the screen, you'll see all the normal information. If they're enrolled in facial recognition, you'll see that in the upper left. You'll see that their temperature is too high, prompting the yellow band at the bottom to let them know. A screenshot of the screen as you see it here is taken and sent to the email address of your choosing if you're enrolled in remote alerts. If the user is enrolled in the facial recognition program, when they approach the kiosk, this is what they'll see. In the upper left, you see the picture from when they enrolled in the facial recognition program as well as their name. Beneath that, you'll see their temperature reading. And if you have mask detection enabled, when they remove their mask or if they do not have one, you'll see a second alert at the bottom of the screen, letting them know that they need to have a mask on at your facility. On this menu, most of the options are pre-calibrated for you here at the factory. The one option that you will use is the face search. Face search. The first option on the face search menu is to register a face. This is where you can manually register a user for the facial recognition program. On this page, you can input the user name. So here we'll put tests. The user group is where you can define, maybe a department where the person works if they're in HR or manufacturing. And below that, you can enter any other user information that you'd like, such as employee ID. Once you've entered this information, hit Start Face Collection, and it'll take a picture of the user. And that's it. You've got somebody enrolled in your database. Now that you have registered users at your kiosk, you can go through and manage that database of users here. If you've set up multiple groups, those will be listed here on the first page. Since we just registered one user so far, they're going to be in our default group. Here we've got our CEO that we just previously registered, so we'll go ahead and click on him. On this page, you can update the face image if they wanted to take another picture, for example, or you can delete the user if they no longer work at your company, or maybe they're going in through a different entrance with a different kiosk. Once you're complete, you can save changes if we had made any changes, and it'll take you back to the previous menu. If you want to do a bulk import of images for your facial recognition program, you can do that here at the bulk import setting. Once you click it, there's a step-by-step instruction guide on how to upload a bulk database of images. Once those are uploaded to the kiosk, they'll be used just the same as the users that you registered individually. Update Tari. From time to time, there's going to be software updates available for your kiosk. When that happens, we'll reach out to you to let you know. When updates are available, you can climb into this menu and you have the option to update the Tari software or update the firmware for the kiosk as a whole. You'll need to connect the kiosk to the internet to pull these updates, but you will be able to pull them from your kiosk, and we're happy to assist you when the time comes. Once completed, you'll save changes and it'll take you back to the previous menu. Settings. The System Settings menu is where you can connect your kiosk to the internet via Wi-Fi. If you click the Wi-Fi option, it'll show you all the available networks that you can connect to. Once completed, you just hit the back button twice, and it'll take you back to the previous